Hi, my name's Jason. I'm going to do a demo and review of this Electro-Harmonix bass mono synth. So this is my impressions after using it for a couple hours, getting used to it. It's not 100% like turning on a distortion pedal and just, crank, get a tone. It does have some details about how you interact with it, especially how the sound triggers. So it takes a little bit of practice to play your instrument to trigger it the way you expect. You need to play pretty smooth because when you have a lot of dynamics in your playing, it will affect how it triggers. So you're kind of getting used to that. It was like the main hurdle that I faced. Once I got over that, it was pretty smooth sailing. I'm sure if you practiced a part, it would be pretty reliable. So let's get right into it. There's the sound of my bass. There's the sound of my bass on synth. So what you're hearing right now is actually a blend of the bass and the synth, controlled right here. I like it with a good amount of the bass in there as well. Just kind of maintains some of the fundamental and smoother tone, and you get the rhythmic elements of your natural playing. So listening to these sounds, a lot of them are kind of more appropriate for kind of like whole note, half note type playing. They evolve nicely. This isn't like super rhythmic. It's more feel, right? There are some later that are a little more punchy, but I'd say 2/3 of these are really more like the kind of slow feel, slow burn type sounds. So you give that wheel a turn, and it's going to modulate something in the sound, which may be subtle or may not be. This one you can hear like the resonator is punched up a little bit more there when you crank that wheel up. Anyway, it's not a lot of rhythm, so let's just move on to the next one. This one's also kind of a slow burn sound, but quite a bit different, right? It's like really dying off there. Give that wheel a crank just to hear what's changing. Once again, this one's more of a resonator sound. So maybe this is a good example. Like, let's just hear full-on synth. So definitely like, more electronic sound when you crank that bass out. Put it back in a little bit. And you hear that little wobble when it triggers. So that's just like the difference in volume on the triggering that you kind of have to get used to. So this is the sensitivity knob, which controls a lot of how it triggers. But if you play smooth and tune to the trigger setting that you have, it's generally pretty good. All right, so acid. This is one where it starts to kind of more significantly. I'm going to say significantly because if you crank this up, you'll see what I mean. And I found like this one, it sounds good if you have especially if you crank it down. It gives this cool tone. You can hear that. It's like it's mostly bass, but it's a weird bass sound, which is kind of the point. All right, Cosmic. So this one's another slow evolution of sound. So something to note here, you can bend this just like you can on the little tone wheel, or sorry, the mod wheel on your synth. It doesn't necessarily trigger, so that'd be something. So you can see, like as I was playing around with that, it triggered it at one point and it restarted the evolution. So sometimes a little bit of fret noise will even trigger it if you're like, that's another thing. You got to play with the settings. You got to kind of get used to it. All right, on to sub, which is going to do exactly what you think it is. Hopefully you got headphones on or something. You can hear sub frequencies. And this one, you turn that down, it's like that's pretty much all the sub sound, right? And then we go on to growl. This one is, I found this one sounds good when you do like the start and stop. Just modulate that a little bit. Try that without any bass. You can get like more of that. All right, moving on. All right, one of my favorites here. So this is a good one to demonstrate what the preset button does. So if you like that particular frequency of wobble, hold this down and you get that red light flashing. So it holds that setting. So now we go back off preset. I'm going to give that a crank. And you can see I've reduced the frequency of the modulator. But if I hit my preset, it's going to go back to that higher frequency. So you know what that's for. On to the next one. Give that a crank. We're listening to all synth here. Alright, next. I found this would be one of the most rhythmic ones to play fast. You get the idea. Give that a crank. Next. These last two are a little more slow evolution. That one, I didn't quite hit it hard enough, I didn't trigger it, so that's another one of those like sensitivity issues. You really do want to use it live. You really want to practice with the effect. It doesn't come to you instantly, right? It's not like you're making a mistake playing. You're just not quite used to how the effect feels. So, last one. This one's got a nice evolution. Best E scale ever. I'm pretty happy with this. I think it does what it expected to do. I didn't exactly expect about like the little tracking problems and the details of playing, but it kind of makes sense when you think about it. It's not like a pure analog signal that it's processing. There's got to be some kind of triggering mechanism. So I doubt any other of the competitors have necessarily solved that problem. But I haven't tried them all. So if you found the perfect one, then I guess I missed. But I'm pretty happy with this. I think I could learn how to use it pretty reliably and not have any problems with it live if I have my setting and just figure out how it works. Thanks for watching, and you may now smash like.